What's up, YouTube? Just for CeeManga here, coming to you with a review of One Piece, chapter 687. Hands down, this has to be one of the best One Piece chapters I've read in the longest while. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I wasn't really enjoying this arc until the last 10 chapters or so, and now I'm really into it, and it's caught my attention again. So this chapter basically focuses on Zoro and kind of Tashigi as well. So, let's pick up where the chapter picks up where we left off last week. Sanji's still running with the Marines. They asked him, why didn't he help us when Mana attacked us? And he actually says, me personally, I don't attack women. And they said, even if you're gonna, he said, and they actually gave a situation to him, and he says, I'd rather die than attack a woman. That's because this shows how much, Sanji's against fighting women. And then they said that, okay, so even someone like you who has, some kind of self-restraint hangs around with the power hunter Zoro who seems to attack anything. And then Sanji actually corrects him and say, he may seem like, a guy have a crazy look in his eye or a wild beast, but he does have a soft side. Then we jump to the scene with, Zoro Tashigi versus Monet. And, Tashigi's telling Zoro that, he doesn't have it in him to fight or to fight Monet at full potential and, possibly kill her, because he can't fight women. He has to hold back against them. And then she actually says that, is this because you think women are weak or you think we're inferior or something? And then, we know that's not the case with Zoro. But then we do get a flashback, hundreds of chapters ago with the both of them actually, she asks him the same question. And Zoro says, it's because you remind me of my dear friend, or his best friend that died years ago, basically. And she looked just like Tashigi, who's also a swordsman as well. So, I know that's the case why Zoro wouldn't fight Tashigi, but I didn't know why he was holding back against Monet. But I think that kind of gets explained later on. Anyway, so as the fight progresses now, Monet sneaks attacks Tashigi, but she blocks it somehow. And then we get to see that Tashigi has some moderate use of haki. She can hold her own basically. She's not as skilled as Smoko or Luffy, or like any of the top tier straw hats, but she can hold her own basically. So, Mana's throwing these crazy attacks on her. She throws snow bunnies at her, but Tashigi blocks it, and then we get a little quote from, not even a quote, but Mana actually, acknowledges Tashigi saying that, I underestimated you. Like, the second in command, of Smoker's division does have some skill. And then but she did catch, Tashigi in the end, basically. She actually bites her on the shoulder. And, from last chapter, we saw that bite actually takes a chunk out of people. And Tashigi knows this, so she grabs onto Monet, knowing what's going to happen if she actually pulls out. But before that could happen, Zoro intervenes finally. So basically, but before the fight between Tashigi and Monet started, basically Zoro actually decided to sit back and let Tashigi take over. He said, you know what, you fight her, I'm going to guard the corridor because we have the same mission. So throughout the whole fight between Tashigi and Monet, Zoro was just sitting back, chilling in the background, not really doing much. Anyway, so now that he sees that she's in trouble, he actually, steps in and he says, he gives this badass speech about, never seen a wild beast that's never attacked someone, or I think he basically gave Monet the chance to run away, or, to save herself basically, because he didn't want to actually kill her. So he gave her the chance to run away, or, giving her a test of character or something, and then knowing that she's not going to do any of that, he says, okay, I need to step in now and stop you. So as he's walking towards her, Monet is so shit scared. Like she doesn't even move. She just stands there watching him come towards her, and then Zoro just, he just cuts her in two, like nothing, no effort whatsoever, clean cut. I honestly thought Monet was dead. I thought that was it, game over. She's never coming back. But it turns out that it didn't even use hockey. That cut installed so much fear in her that it made her think she was dead. So because of that, she couldn't even move. She couldn't reform. She couldn't do anything for a brief period of time. And then, that's what Tashigi commented on, saying that he's improved so much over the years that a regular cut from him can make you think that you're dead without even using haki. But, so Monet being so embarrassed about what happened, she tries to sneak attack Zoro again, but Tashigi, intervenes and stops her. And then Zoro and Tashigi have like a little, banter between the two, like we come to expect from them. And it's quite funny. Like she says, why didn't you finish her off? It's because you're still, you still hold back against women, or you still don't have it in you to do it. And he's just like, no, I left that job to you. And then he's like, you know what, this is your battle today. You done a good job. You can tell everyone that you defeated her. And she's like, what, are you saying that as if you're better than him? He's like, yeah, I am. And then the chapter wraps up like that. But it was a really cool chapter. I enjoyed it a lot. Best chapter I've read in a while. It tops the last chapter in my opinion as well. So, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10 chapter right now. I'm really loving One Piece again right now. Like, I was so bored of it the last couple of chapters. I was so bored, man. Now I'm really into it again. this is what I wanted to see from One Piece. You know, these epic fights, or my favorite characters is showing up again, fighting properly. So yeah, 10 out of 10 this week. I'm really enjoying it. Looking forward to the next week. What do you guys think of this chapter? Any predictions? What might happen? Me personally, I'm not really sure what's gonna happen next. We might jump back to Luffy and Monosuke, or we jump back to Smoker versus Virgo. We can go anywhere basically. So let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoyed it. Take care.